My name is Susan Kappa, and I'm here today to share with you some toys that promote 3 areas of development for infants and toddlers. Those 3 areas are the social and emotional development, their motor development, and their language development. Social and emotional development for infants begins at birth. By responding to their cries, you're not spoiling them, but you are teaching them to trust you. And you're also promoting a positive relationship with your infant. Have playtime planned throughout the day. When your infant is alert, then it's playtime. Be observant for those non-verbal cues from your infant when playtime is over. Those may be looking away or becoming fussy. Let's start with visual perception. Simulation for the infant is the human face. This book, Baby Faces, and I'm not promoting any particular toy, but just to give you an example of what you should be looking for. This has real pictures, photographs of babies making faces. I also made a book using sandwich bags to help protect the pages called Happy Faces. And in this book, I have included the infant's family. The mom, the dad, and siblings. And of course, don't forget the baby. They're also visually stimulated by patterns. Patterns done in black, white, and red. Here's a book that I made, and you can take your pages to your local Office Max or Home Depot or any other office supply store and have them laminated. So I just made these out of paper. So I punched paper squares. This was some pattern paper that I had. You just make some interesting patterns. Babies are very focused on bullseye patterns. Language development. Talk to your infant often. Make eye contact during feeding and talk about body parts when you wash them during bath time, and tell your infant what you're doing before you do it. Like, I'm going to pick you up now, and then pick your infant up. Books are excellent for language development. And when sharing a book with your infant or toddler, point to the pictures and talk about what you see. For example, look at this piggy. This piggy's all dirty. And look, the baby's dirty too. Oh, they're going to have to take a bath. Did you notice the change in my speech? That sing-song speech is called parent-tease. You will observe that most people do this naturally around your baby. Parent-tease gets the infant's attention and helps them focus on the language. Teethers may not be considered a toy, but they are. You can have a variety of teethers, and how you can use these for language is talk about the different characteristics of each of these teethers. Your hands become toys too. You can play patty cake. You can also sing the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Also, you can do peekaboo. Is that you, Anthony? Peekaboo! Hi, Anthony. There you are. It's important to use the infant's name as a marker in your speech. They will focus on their name. We're going to move on to motor development. Birth to 4 months old do not have good anti-gravity skills, so their experiences will occur either on their back, on their stomach, or in a supported sitting position. During this time, reaching and grasping for small toys can be observed. Toys that are easy to grasp, like a soft doll, animals, or balls, can be placed where the infant can reach them. When you lay your infant on their tummy, we call that tummy time. And they're building their neck and shoulders and core muscles And if you put that just out of their reach, they can reach for it and grab it. If they aren't reaching yet, you can shake it and get their attention so they can pick their head up. And soon you'll see them using their arms to brace themselves up. The 7 to 8 month old infant begins purposeful movement. So their progression of that would be rolling, crawling, creeping, and hitching and scooting. Place toys just out of their reach so that they have to move to get the toy. You will notice that some of the toys that are used for mobile infants are also used for infants birth to 9 months. When you're deciding what toys to buy, look for ones that can grow with your child. Social games and taking turns begin at this age. The earliest of these games involves the infant dropping something and the adult picking that up. The infant is interested in the toy. The mobile infant is showing more interest in the social aspect of that game. Like blocks, for instance. Stacking blocks up, the adult will stack them, and the mobile infant will knock it down. And you'll build them again, and they'll knock it down, probably giggling and laughing and having a very happy smile on their face. You also can use your fingers to play with your mobile infant. When you're wiggling your fingers, they'll put their hands to stop. When they let go, you wiggle them again. You could say things like, "Oh, you got them. Oh, you got them. You stopped them. Good for you." They'll enjoy that. This is also a good time to introduce toys that encourage awareness of self and others. Mirrors that they can look into, unbreakable mirrors are available in the stores, and dolls, soft cuddly dolls that they can cuddle with. You can also introduce water play at this time using a dishwashing tub, which I'm going to show you in the next section for toddlers and talk more about water play. But you might want to have a doll that is able to be put in water, so it's not a stuffed doll. And your mobile infant can then give this doll a bath, and you can talk about the different body parts on this doll, and obviously they'll be the same as their body parts, so you're promoting self-awareness. Introducing items for self-help skills, this would be a good time. You can use, either you could buy play cups and plates and forks and knives and things like that, or just pull some out of your cupboard. So I have some plastic cups here, and plastic bowl and plastic spoons. They can pretend to feed themselves. They can pretend to feed the babies. They have plates. You can have play food. This would be a good time to introduce finger foods for them so that they're learning to feed themselves and self-feed. These are good things that promote that self-help skills. Large motor and locomotive motion is really taking off for the mobile infant. Push toys for crawlers, like this lawnmower, which has a lot of bells and whistles on it when you push it. And pull toys for your walkers. Another good thing, which is cheap and easy, is a large box. Your crawler can hold on to here. You might have to weight it down with some things inside, and they can push it along the floor as they learn to walk. Toys that they can creep or crawl for, like wind-up toys, cars, or balls, are also good at this age for children to play with. Your mobile infant is ready to work with a ball for pushing and kicking and retrieving. A ball about the size of your infant's head is easy for them to handle. It's a good rule of thumb when you're looking for balls. Some balls that are really big, they can't really handle very well. Some balls that are too small can't really grasp. So these are good sizes. And of course, you could still use the ball that you had for your infant birth to 9. Another thing you can do, which is really fun, is you can place pillows or cushions from your couch onto the floor for them to crawl over. You can have them walk on them, but you will need to hold their hands to steady them. If you put them on the floor like this, they actually have kind of like a hill to climb over. And cushions from the couch are excellent too to use. Small motor skills are developing, and a puzzle like this, puzzles with knobs on them, are great for helping them with their pincer skills, their grips. They're now probably going to be able to get it back into the spot, so they're going to need your help with that. But when they are successful, and even when they're not, encourage them by saying, "That's great. Oh, that's a fishy. Oh, look at that turtle." That also is helping develop their language skills. Toys that promote pick up and release are good for their fine motor skills. They pick them up, put them in the bucket. You have to pick them up and release them to put them in there. They love taking things in and out. You can buy buckets at the store, or you can use things that you have around your house. Bowls, washed out food containers, all make good containers for them to put things in and out. It doesn't have to be balls either. It can be shapes from your shape sorter. It can be the blocks that you had. And it could be little animals. It could be a lot of different toys. Anything that'll fit into the container, they're going to love to put them in and take them out. And what is that doing? Promoting motor skills. We're going to move on to dump and fill activities. One thing you can do is you can have a box at one end, actually two boxes, spread them apart across the room, fill them with toys or whatever you want. I mean toys, but I mean balls or toys or stuffed toys. And give your mobile infant a bucket. Now they're going to be good walkers at this point, and they can take the things out of one box, put them in their bucket, walk across the room or as far as you think they can go to be successful with the other box, and dump them in. And they'll just keep doing this and doing this because it's so much fun for them, and they're developing their motor skills. Another dump and fill activity is to use your blocks again. This happens to be a big dump truck. They can fill this up, push it along the room. Good for those crawlers, learning to move things, dump them out, move around, go back over to the block spot, fill it back up with blocks, come back and dump it over at the dumping site. Next we're going to move on to stacking toys, or toys that fit together. Now this is a stacking toy, and each ring makes a different sound. This one has like little crinkly sounds in it. And they can stack and unstack with this, and it's visually stimulating, and also there's sense of hearing, and there's different textures on the different rings, and sense of touch are being used in that area. But again, you can use things that you have at home. Here are bowls that fit into each other that they can play with. They can stack these. You can also, again, use food containers of different sizes to have them stack. These can be used in their block play also. A major component of language development involves the learning of meanings of words. Example, ball may mean get me the ball, or play with the ball, or look, I found a ball. It's not until 18 months of age that toddlers begin to string words together like ball all gone. When you talk to your mobile infant, wait till they are done with their sentence before you respond. They are learning the give and take of the give and take rhythm of normal conversations. Don't interrupt, wait for them to finish. You need to have a little patience there sometimes. Point to whatever you are talking about to support the mobile infant in learning the names of objects, like this is a truck. This is a yellow truck. Or, did you want the ball? Let's play with the car. Singing and rhyming promotes language, and books that are the following. Touch and feel books. Here's a classic, Pat the Bunny. There's actually, you could feel the soft fur of the bunny on the page. The silkiness of the towel. This actually you can smell. A little book inside of a book. They can actually put their finger through the ring. It's a very cool book. Here's another one, Good Night, Touch and Feel Bedtime Book. So the pages all have different textures on them. This also is a good animal book. Talk about the different animals. You can make your own touch and feely book. This is Zach's touch book that I made for my godson. This is corrugated cardboard, felt, bubble wrap, a shimmery, silky piece of material, and I put glue and then I let it dry and drew around the glue shapes, and if you feel it, it's the glue is raised up and it's funky. So you can make your own feely books too. Other books about families, you can now add to your family book. You can put other significant family members in here, and when you're reading the book you can say, look, there's Mommy and she's wearing a necklace. There's Daddy and he has a beard. There's Isabella with her glasses on. Thomas loves his yellow shirt. There's Isabella with a bow in her hair. So describing the pictures and pointing to them as you're reading with your child helps promote language development too. Some of the following toys support cognitive development. Giving your child a one-step direction like, please get me the ball, and simple repetitive games like peekaboo. Toys that have predictability as a consequence of their actions. For example, this toy, when you hit the balls, something happens when you do something to it, and then they'll have fun putting the balls back up and taking them down again. Oops. I made a toy similar to this, which you can do using a box and some golf balls. I color-coded the holes, and inside is a tube that provides a little ramp for them to roll down on, so they can match the colors, and they push it down. They can do it again and again and again. So that's a homemade toy that's predictability, a predictability toy with consequences as your child plays with them. Other toys are toys that make sound. Here is a little tambourine or shaker. This was back at our infant section, the birth to 9 months. Has a shaker in it. Also, this is just a plain old tube. You know, they have colorful tape now, so I put tape on it, and I also use some markers to decorate it. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. And this box, this container that we use for our stacking toy, This is a coffee container, but you could put contact paper over this part if you want and make it fancy. But what's nice is it's got this nice handle, and they can use it as a drum. They can march around the room and use it as a drum, and you're promoting a lot of skills there with hand-eye coordination and motor skills with the marching. Toddlers are emotional beings. They are learning to identify and label and demonstrate their feelings. They can go from happy and dancing around to stomping their feet, screaming and crying on the floor. You will hear a lot of mine, me do it, and no as toddlers assert their control over their environment. This is a good time to invite friends over for your child to practice social skills, but remember that you are the model for social interaction and may need to help with taking turns and sharing of toys during play. Self-help, this is a good time to have those toddlers help you pick up those toys. Now they're not going to be able to pick them all up by themselves, but they can watch you as you model putting their toys away, and they can follow along. And, your child is also learning to manipulate small toys, and I want to share with you some things that I have here. This is an egg carton, and I did cut holes in it. I didn't try to make the holes with these objects. You can use clothespins. Now they won't be clipping them. They won't be able to open and shut them, but they will be able to place them into the holes. They're also learning math concepts, one-to-one correspondence. You can, these are just red dowel rods that I had found actually at a garage sale. I have a whole bag of them. Use that. You can also use different colored popsicle sticks that you can get at your local craft store. You can stick those in there. They can count them. They can talk about the different colors that they are. That's a good manipulative toy. A cupcake pan or muffin pan is great for sorting. You can use Fruit Loops, and at first just let the kids play with the Fruit Loops. They'll eat a few, they'll play with them, they'll fill these cups up to the top. They're starting to learn more, so they'll know that this cup has more than this cup. And then you, of course, are going to have to model for them sorting because that's all new to them. But you can say, empty this, dump this out onto a tray, the Fruit Loops, and put a blue one in and say, let's fill this one with blue ones, and see if they can find the blue ones or the red ones, the yellow ones. If you give them a small amount of Fruit Loops to sort, that is best. It's overwhelming when you give them too many objects to sort. Something else you can sort are blocks. You can say, can you find the block that's like this one? They'll pick it up. Can you find the block that's like this one? Maybe you could talk about the same color, and they'll match the colors up, or the same shapes. There's lots of attributes to the blocks, and I have a few more bags of blocks that you can use, and they can practice sorting and building, and we'll talk more about blocks later. Other manipulative toys, these toys fit in together. They happen to be frogs and lily pads, but I made some of my own. I went to my local grocery store and talked to the butcher, and he was willing to give me meat trays, and so I made my own blocks, or interlocking blocks, from the meat trays. I just made a couple shapes to demonstrate how they work. And those are fun and homemade. Also, it's kicking a ball and throwing a ball is good. This is, again, a good size. They can catch it in between their hands. They might start with trapping and then catching it between two hands. They're able to kick now, which shows good balance because you have to pick that one foot up to kick the ball. And they're also learning to throw. So Depending on how you feel about your home and your rules, throwing can be for outside only, or if they're able to throw inside, that's fine too. Also, problem solving, eye-hand coordination, fine motor, puzzles, shape sorters. I promote these. I have this shape sorter is a simple one. It has 3 shapes, and they just find the shape. You can talk about that's a square, that's a yellow square, there's the green triangle, that's a round cylinder, or probably just say circle to them. And you can, as your child's abilities grow, you can get a shape sorter that has many different shapes and different sides to match up to. This kind of towards the latter part of the 34, 35, 36 months on the toddler end. Another homemade game that you can play or make and do with your child is cookie cutters. I took the cookie cutters and I traced the shape onto cardstock, and I had the cardstock laminated, and you can lay these out. You can just start with a couple shapes, you know, start with 4 shapes and having them match them, and as they progress with their ability, you can put out more, so then they have to match the cookie cutter to the shape. And you can talk about the different cookie cutters and what shapes they are, and that's also promoting good language skills for them, along with cognitive and motor development. Language development is promoted by using phones and talking on the phone. Also, you can introduce books that do things. Here we have our faces again. This is a book about opposites, but full, empty. These are things that they have to move. This is the front, back. You can also introduce books of interest. So if they're into trains, this one's the little engine that could, but Thomas the Train has books out there, Barney, Dora. This is a book of the first 100 words, which has families doing everyday things, and it has the written word, and you can point to, here's grandma, mommy, baby. Here they're getting dressed. These are all things that they're familiar with in their lives. Books that have to do with that will promote language. Water play. You can use a dishwashing tub like this. Do this in the bathtub, outside in a wading pool, and or you could buy a cat litter box, brand new, and it's bigger for water play. Just remember that 2 inches of water is all it takes for children to drown in. So please, please, please supervise this play. You have your baby that you can put in the water and give a bath to. These are mustard, mayonnaise, and ketchup bottles. They can fill them up with water. You can put the tops on for them. Actually, you don't have to take the tops off. If you put it in and squeeze it, let it go under the water, they'll fill up, and then your toddler can squeeze out the water. And watch out, because they'll probably squirt you too with that. So have fun with that. Going back to the meat trays, I cut out fish shapes, and they float in the water, and you can use the net to catch them. You can also, these blocks float, you can catch blocks in there. That's another thing you can learn with water play, sink and float concepts. Here's rubber ducky, and I like this one because it has a spot on the bottom that it tells you when it's too hot. So you do want to test your bath water. Here's a nice cup with a handle and a strainer. They both have handles, so they're easy for them to hold. And they're picking up water, dumping it in, and they can watch it strain off of the back. The bottom. Block play supports problem solving. Let them figure out why their tower keeps falling down. The more your child has to use his mind and body to problem solve and develop his own ideas, the more he learns. I made some blocks out of using sturdy cardboard boxes And I also used paper bags stuffed with newspapers to make paper bag blocks. During block play, you can encourage pretend play by adding cars, animals, and people. Beep, beep. You can add paper cardboard ramps, mailing tubes, or wrapping paper tubes, and balls to build the cause and effect relationships. You can use different size balls and different weights of balls. For safety reasons, small toys should not be smaller than 2 inches. I suggest using a toilet paper tube. The diameter is about 1 inch and a little over a half. So if it fits inside, it is a choking hazard for children under 3. It's a good way to test, to make sure that the toys that you're incorporating in your play are safe. I would like to encourage you at this time to enjoy playing with your child using safe and developmentally appropriate toys.